parasites in medical school. Doctors here in this country do not know parasites, and I get some of the most naive interpretations of a patient's symptom from medical doctors that should know better. So it's not a great service which is being done to the average patient as seen by a typical classical AMA practitioner. We need to know better. Parasites can affect the human body in one of three possible ways. First, either directly by actual destructive physical action that tends to destroy human tissue. Secondly, by the byproducts, the metabolic byproducts of the parasites that can affect and initiate an allergic reaction on the part of the patient, which can affect the neurological system as well as the dermatological skin system. And thirdly, when the parasites cause damage in the body tries to repair the damaged tissue by proliferating at a faster rate than its normal rate of proliferation. As a result, when that rate of proliferation or compensation of damaged tissue occurs at a faster than the normal rate, when it goes out of control, the tissue can become metastatic and cancer will ensue. There are many known cancer cases, especially in Africa and in the Indian subcontinent, in the intestinal tract and the liver, depending on the presence of parasites in these organs, that the reproductive ability has gone haywire. So this is the kind of thing that we're going to talk to you about today, about showing the actual picture. Those that have weak stomachs, and you want to take off and leave the room now, because I'll show some pictures that you may not want to see, especially before lunch. But we'll take it as it comes. In our facility, PCI, Parasitology Center in Arizona, we train also foreign doctors. Why test for parasites? That's the kind of symptoms that you can get if you get any one or more of these symptoms that you want to suspect or take parasites and to start doing something about it. The GI symptoms on the left-hand side here. And there are symptoms that occur outside the intestinal tract that all are byproducts of the parasite infections. How do you get infected with parasites? What is the common exposure? Parasites are all invariably preventable diseases, as the case is with most cancers are preventable diseases in their function of exposure. They're affected by drinking water, skin contact with contaminated water such as in swimming or wading, food, ingestion with contaminated food items, whether it is food or drink or juice or whatever the case may be. Arthropods, ticks, Lyme disease, plague, typhus, caused by fleas and lice. Air, upper respiratory tract infections caused viruses and bacteria. Valley fever in Arizona, that's quite common. Hantavirus, you know about that. Pets. Dog is not the man's best friend. It can be your absolute worst enemy, depending on your nature of exposure and contact with dogs. Interkissing with dogs with children can cause very serious illnesses, especially teething. People, contagious disease, AIDS, herpes, and soil. Hookworms and threadworms. If you walk barefoot in an area which is soiled by infected stages of any one of these nematode species, it can go into your skin, goes through two migratory cycles involving the liver and the spleen and the heart, and sometimes also quite often the respiratory system. And when a patient comes into your office and he has hard time breathing and the diaphragm isn't working right and so on, don't always suspect some magic thing. Just think of parasites also. Parasites can compromise the diaphragm and the respiratory system as part of the migratory cycle of the human body, and as a result, patients should always be tested for parasites. I'll just mind you, I have some friends in Sweden that test the horses for worms once a year. I think we deserve better than horses in Sweden. Many of the doctors I work with test the patient for parasites routinely once a year with an annual checkup. I do not want to bother you with the techniques of how to process and test the samples because we already have time limitations. I have more interesting things to share with you. So I'm just going to quickly overlook the process that we do in the laboratory to test for the parasites. This is one paper that I published in the American Journal of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene, which shows that of 5,700 fecal specimens examined in 48 states, 19 species of parasites were recovered, and the most common of those species, Blastocystis. Also notice that, let's see, 82%, some places written here, 50% of persons examined were infected with parasites. Infection, prevalence of infection was 22, 27 in the winter, but increased to 36, 43 in July and October, basically amounting to average of 32% of the people sampled in those 6,000 or so cases were infected with parasites. If these results apply to you here sitting in this room, then look around you, right and left. The chances are 1 out of each 3 of you sitting in this room is infected with parasites. You may know it, you may not know it, you may have clinical infections, you may have clinical symptoms, you may be subclinical. But if you have any of the symptoms I showed earlier, then you need to be checked for that. By the way, I should mention that I have some flyers and cards in the registration table if you need to check. The list of herbal remedies that we use for parasites, we are more into herbal remedies and homeopathic remedies and so on. We do not like antibiotics. So this publication here in Explore magazine lists every single herbal remedy for parasite that was invented since ancient Egyptian, ancient Chinese remedies were known in the literature. It has recommendations for doses for children and doses for adults. I also have a video, 5 or 6 part video on parasites, which is now being taught in medical schools and in graduate schools. The first parasite, which is the most common in the United States, 2/3 of infections in the United States average population is of Blastocystis hominis. It is a single cell protozoa, had nuclei on the outside of the fringes. Infection is caused by fecal-oral contamination. It has intestinal and extraintestinal symptoms, including skin abnormalities. I worked with a very famous movie star in Hollywood. I'm not going to mention her name, obviously, that she was on the verge of committing suicide, but she had those huge skin problems that she could not shoot pictures. Halfway the picture was destroyed. She could not shoot the rest of the picture, and she was just home, cooped up for about 2 or 3 months in a row. The film production stopped, and she was just out of the blues. She found my number. She called me up. And I told her, send us a fecal specimen. She said, what does a fecal have to do with my skin? I told her, just send us a fecal specimen. She sent the fecal specimen. She has a Blastocystis hominis infection. She was treated, and in 1 week, her skin was back to normal. She calls me my God. But anyway, those things happen. This is a secondary manifestation in the system outside of the intestinal tract as a result of the toxicity, which is natural byproduct of the parasite to which the patient may be allergic. This is the case of heavy infection of Blastocystis organisms, and we will elicit a reaction of the intestinal tract if the feed not producing such heavy mucus presence. The body produces mucus to attempt to coat the intestinal lining from the damaging effect of the parasites. So with an infection like this, you expect to get death. Region parvo is the second most common parasite in the United States. It also published on that parasite. However, 50%, while the average prevalence we published in North America laboratories is 2 to 3%. It is a small microscopic single cell organism, about 2 to 5 microns in diameter, 2 to 5 1,000 millimeter. It is present in water, and you get it by drinking contaminated water. Most people drink water from bottles. But please note that published studies have shown that 20 to 25% roughly, I hope I remember the figure correctly, of U.S. households that are serviced by surface water treatment plants are naturally contaminated with spores of Cryptosporidium and cysts of Giardia. If you are in a city, which you can check with your city, if you are a city that is serviced by surface water treatment plant, the chances are 1 out of each 5 households have natural infection, contamination of their tap water with Cryptosporidium and also of Giardia. It's something you want to check with your city health department.